So first up, there's tool rack. And you might think, well, what's up with this tool rack? It's a very simple process. Didn't take me long to make it, but it is one of those mental tricks where having things organized and structured in a way, and also off the floor because there's limited space. Although it's a tiny win, a very small win, I guess, overall it's these tiny wins that are very important in a big project like this. It's very important to, be grateful for the small steps and the small wins, because without them you'd get lost in the grandness of things. Same goes for this tiny little fireplace that we found secondhand somewhere. It's a bit shattered, a bit broken, but I think it should still work. And this is not necessarily something that's going to be up and running within the next few weeks, but over time, hopefully at some stage, we'll be able to heat this container up, have a few windows, make it nice and cozy in there. On the one hand, you've got to be grateful for the small things that are working out and that are helping you move the project forward. And then on the other hand, you also have to have your dreams and your aspirations and your goals. So then for some exciting news, all along this bank we direct sowed some flaxes, and also I planted a few up where the bamboo stakes are. All of those that we have sown have started to come up in quite large numbers. So hopefully in no time, this whole bank is going to be full of flaxes and help stabilize the bank. So that experiment definitely worked. I'm also going to be adding some cabbage trees to add a bit of texture. I love cabbage trees, they're beautiful trees, but also to add a different root system to the soil to help stabilize the soil even more. So that's these babies done. Not really much to see but the bamboo stakes unless you get really close. But for now, all we've got to do is wait and let these babies grow on this bank, and then hopefully provide a bit of stabilization over time. And then lastly, I want to talk about these pine tree logs. This was a tree that I felled a couple of weeks ago. It was on the boundary of the land. Chopped it down because we want to prevent it from sending seed onto the land. You can check out that video for more information. My plan with these is to try and grow edible mushrooms on them. Pine trees themselves can be tricky sometimes, but we've got quite a little bit of pine trees along the top boundary that are of similar size and that could be worthwhile if we are able to do that. So in that way we can turn something that's an issue, a problem, a weed, into a possible resource. They take 2 years to kind of inoculate and then fruit. So I'm trying different species, and then hopefully over time can see if that works. That's not to say that we'll be doing that for the rewilding pine. So there's also pine trees that are popping up throughout the land that have self-seeded from the surrounding properties. Those are still going to be pulled as much as possible. But there's a stand of pine trees that are older already, and rather than poisoning them or ring barking them, which probably will do a bit of both of those as well, but I'm just trying to think around, be creative, think outside of the box and see whether we can turn something that's a big issue into a resource. Let me walk you through the basics of the process. You chop your pine tree or any kind of log basically, and then you want to make sure that you're going to inoculate it as quickly as possible after chopping it down. You want to prevent other fungi from being able to colonize the logs, because they're going to provide competition for the mycelium that you want growing in there. Once you've got your log, you're going to drill holes in it, 10 to 15 centimeter distance. Then you're going to get your plugs. Those are inoculated with the mycelium, so with the fungi, and you're going to hammer those in. And then lastly, you're going to use a bit of beeswax to seal off each of the holes and the plugs that you made into the log. And that again is to prevent other fungi from being able to colonize the log, because what we want is this species of mushroom that's edible for us to colonize the log completely. And then once it's fully colonized, it'll fruit and it'll give the fruiting bodies, which is the mushrooms that we eat. Because pine trees can be a little bit tricky, a little bit more difficult to inoculate with mushrooms. It has to do with the resin in them. So for example, compared to an oak species or other hardwood species, they're a bit more tricky. But I've read online there's a few species that should work on the pine trees. So I've got brown oyster in this bigger log, which is actually a native to Australia and New Zealand, which is very cool. And then in the bottom one, I've got enoki. Both of them are edible mushrooms, and both of them have somewhat of a track record of being able to produce fruiting mushrooms on pine logs. And I guess in general, it's just an experiment. Like many of the things are at the project in this phase, we're just trialing a lot of things, experimenting a lot and seeing what works, what sticks and those kinds of things. If this turns out to be a success, so either these species or some of the other species which I'm still going to trial, if that works and we can produce mushrooms off the pine logs, then that could have a major impact and provide a major opportunity, because we've got this whole ridge along the top that is still in pines. If we're able to harvest them and turn them into a resource, then that is going to be amazing. Then that can provide food, maybe financial income, those kinds of things. So definitely a worthwhile project, but like many of them, we have to wait and see. So that's all for now. I hope this video found you well, and it's also an invitation for you and me and all of us, a gentle reminder that it's the small things in life that we need to remember to be grateful for. It's the small steps that move things forward, and keeping an eye on where you want to go, but definitely also appreciating where you are now. And then the very last thing for today, a simple ask from us to you. If you've been enjoying this content and the videos that we've been putting out so far, then there's one simple thing that you can do to help us out at this stage in the project. Take your favorite video and share that with one other person. So you take one video, share it with one other person. This can be a family member, a co-worker, a friend, whoever, and send them a quick message. Be like, hey, I'm watching this, I'm enjoying it, maybe you would like it as well. We'd really appreciate it if you did that for us. For now, I'd like to say thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.